The complete story, when she saw me on the beach. After 3 years. The barbecue smoke was still rising when she destroyed my life. Right there at our company's 25th anniversary celebration, my wife Diane announced her affair. 40 employees, their families, suppliers we'd worked with for decades, they all watched her thank her personal trainer for teaching her authenticity. While she posted about personal growth and transformation, I was activating the exit plan I'd spent 18 months preparing. Changed my name, disappeared completely, became someone she'd never find. But she did find me. 3 years too late, and the man she found didn't give a damn anymore. My name is Patrick Hendricks. I'm 58 years old, and until 3 years ago, I thought I had life figured out. Owner of Hendricks Construction Company in Mesa, Arizona. 40 employees, contracts worth millions, a business I built from nothing over 30 years. Started as a day laborer when I was 28, worked my way up, bought my first tools with money I saved sleeping in my truck. Took me 5 years to go out on my own, another 20 to build it into something that mattered. We incorporated the company 25 years ago when we finally had enough steady contracts to make it official. Diane came from Toronto, brought that polished Canadian charm that made clients feel comfortable and workers feel respected. She'd started as a real estate agent, then got into the fitness coaching trend when social media took off, always posting about authentic living and wellness transformations. We'd been married 15 years. She had a son, Russell, from her first marriage, 22 now. I'd been there since he was 12. Taught him how to use power tools safely, sat through every parent conference, helped him apply to Arizona State. He called me Patrick, not Dad, but I never pushed it. I figured respect showed up in actions, not titles. The anniversary party was supposed to be a celebration. 25 years since we incorporated Hendricks Construction, a company that employed half the neighborhood at one point or another. We'd rented the community center, had the whole place catered, even flew in my old mentor Gerald from Phoenix. 40 people gathered around picnic tables, cold beer flowing, pulled pork coming off the smokers. I was halfway through thanking everyone for making the company what it was when Diane stood up. She wore that blue sundress, the one I'd bought her for our vacation to Sedona. Her smile was bright, practiced, the kind she used for her fitness clients when she was building her wellness coaching business. "I actually have something to say," Diane announced, her voice cutting through the laughter and conversation. I looked up at her, still holding my Coors, thinking maybe she was going to toast the crew. Gerald raised his eyebrows, encouraging. "I've been doing a lot of soul-searching lately," she continued, and something in her tone made my chest tighten. "And I've realized that I've been living inauthentically. I've been in a marriage that no longer supports my growth." The yard went quiet. Someone's paper plate dropped, a sound that seemed deafening in the sudden silence. "I've been seeing someone else," Diane said, her eyes scanning the crowd but never quite landing on me. "His name is Spencer. He's my personal trainer. He's helped me understand that I deserve to be with someone who truly sees me. Patrick, I'm grateful for everything, I really am, but I need to be honest with everyone here. This marriage is over." I felt every eye turn toward me. Gerald's face went pale. My foreman, Martinez, looked like he wanted to disappear, but I didn't move, didn't shout, didn't ask questions. I just set down my beer, pulled out my wallet, and placed $300 bills on the table. "Keep the party going," I said to Martinez, who appeared at my elbow looking concerned. "It's not the crew's fault." Then I walked to my truck without looking back. Behind me, I heard Gerald's chair scrape against concrete, heard him say something sharp to Diane, but I was already gone. In the parking lot, I sat in my F250 for exactly 3 minutes. Then I drove to my storage unit and grabbed the go bag I'd prepared 18 months earlier. Because here's what nobody tells you. When you love someone who's capable of public betrayal, you don't wait for the bomb to drop. You build a shelter first. The storage unit smelled like dust and motor oil. I'd rented it 18 months ago under the name Michael Crawford. Paid cash for 2 years up front. Told the manager I was storing tools for a side business. He didn't ask questions. People rarely do when you show up with cash and a story boring enough to be true. Inside, I'd stashed everything I needed for this exact moment. A duffel bag with clothes, work boots, laptop with encrypted files, $85,000 in cash from a separate LLC my father had helped me set up before he died. Diane didn't know about it. She never paid attention to the quarterly papers I signed, never cared about the business beyond the lifestyle it provided. Always too busy with her fitness coaching and social media presence to notice the legal details. I changed out of my good shirt in the dim fluorescent light, Pulled on work jeans and a flannel, laced up the boots. Left the anniversary shirt hanging on a hook like shed skin. Then I drove my truck to a long-term parking lot near Sky Harbor Airport, locked it, left the keys in a magnetic box under the bumper, and walked 4 blocks to where I'd parked my backup vehicle 2 weeks earlier. A 1998 Chevy Silverado, primer gray, registered to Michael Crawford. Paid for in cash from a guy in Tempe who was happy to see it go. Started rough, ran loud, looked like hell. Perfect. I stopped at a gas station outside Phoenix, bought a burner phone, and made one call. Marshall Warren answered on the 3rd ring, his voice thick with sleep. "This better be good, Patrick. It's 2 o'clock in the morning." "It's time," I said. Marshall, my lawyer, and the closest thing I had to a brother since college, didn't hesitate. "The documents. File them in the morning, everything we discussed." "You sure about this?" Marshall asked, and I could hear him moving now, probably reaching for his legal pad. "Once this starts, there's no walking it back." I watched a semi pull into the gas station, its engine rumbling like distant thunder. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. "All right," Marshall said. "Consider it done. Where are you headed?" "You don't need to know that yet." "Patrick?" His voice softened. "You okay?" I looked at my reflection in the truck's side mirror. Same face, different life ahead. "I will be." By dawn, I was checked into a motel in Flagstaff under Michael Crawford. The room had wallpaper from 1985 and a view of the parking lot. I lay on the bed fully clothed, staring at the water-stained ceiling, and thought about Russell. The kid didn't ask for any of this. Didn't ask for his mother to be who she was. Didn't ask for me to disappear. But I couldn't stay. Not for him, not for anyone. Because if I stayed, I'd become the kind of man who accepts betrayal just to keep the family photos on the mantle. I pulled out the burner phone and typed a message I'd never send. "Sorry, kid. You deserve better than all of us." Then I deleted it and turned off the phone. Marshall had sent an encrypted email at 8:30 a.m. with a single line, "Documents filed, the clock is ticking." That meant Diane would find out by noon, maybe sooner if she tried to access any of our accounts. The joint checking, the savings, the business accounts tied to the construction company. All of it locked behind clauses she'd signed 15 years ago and probably never read. Prenuptial Agreement, page 12, section C. In the event of verified infidelity by either party, all jointly held assets revert to the non-offending spouse's sole control, pending dissolution proceedings. We'd signed it 2 weeks before the wedding. She'd laughed, called it overkill, said she'd never cheat. I believed her then. My father insisted on it anyway. I pulled out a manila envelope I'd been carrying in the duffel bag for over a year. It had been in my father's safe deposit box, marked with my name and a date. "Open only if necessary." I'd opened it 6 months ago, the night I first suspected what Diane was doing with her personal trainer. Inside was a letter in my father's handwriting, shaky from the arthritis that eventually made construction work impossible for him. "Patrick, if you're reading this, something went wrong, either with business or with love, probably love. I married your mother when I was 25 and divorced her when I was 32. She was beautiful and ambitious, and somewhere along the way, she forgot we were supposed to be partners, not competitors. Don't let guilt trap you. Don't let anyone convince you that staying is noble when leaving is survival. You're my son, and I know you're loyal to a fault, but loyalty without reciprocity is just volunteering to drown. I've set up a secondary LLC under Crawford Industries. The dividends go to an account only you can access. Use it. Disappear if you need to. Build something new. And for God's sake, don't let anyone make you feel weak for choosing yourself. Love, Dad." I read it 3 times, then folded it carefully and put it back in the envelope. My father had known. Somehow he'd known this day would come. The old man had worked construction for 40 years, built half the commercial buildings in Phoenix, and he'd understood that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away. My burner email buzzed with forwarded notifications. The old iPhone was dead by now, drowned under the faucet back at the house before I left. But I'd set up forwarding before I destroyed it. 23 missed calls from Diane, 18 texts, 5 voicemails. I didn't listen to them. I already knew what they'd say. Confusion, anger, accusations that I was overreacting, that I was being childish, that we needed to talk like adults. But here's the thing about talking. It requires two people who respect each other. And respect, once shattered, doesn't glue itself back together just because someone says sorry. I opened a new text on the flip phone and sent it to Marshall. How long until she figures out the visa situation? His response came fast. Immigration attorney estimates 3 weeks. She's on an H-4 visa through your marriage. Divorce terminates it automatically. She'll have 90 days to leave the country or find another legal path to residency. I stared at that message for a long time. Diane had come to the States on a work visa 12 years ago when real estate was booming, shifted to an H-4 spousal visa when we married. If the marriage dissolved, especially due to infidelity, so did her legal status. I hadn't planned that part specifically, just followed the law. But consequences don't care about intent. Marshall called an hour later. She's trying to access the business accounts, he said, sounding almost amused. Bank told her the accounts were flagged pending legal review. She called my office. My assistant told her all communication had to go through official channels. What about the construction company? I asked. Employees are protected. I transferred their profit-sharing agreements to an independent trust yesterday, just like we discussed. They'll be fine regardless of what happens to you and Diane. 3 weeks into my disappearance, I got a message I didn't expect. It came through an old Discord account Russell and I used to use for a strategy game we'd play together. Haven't logged in for months until my laptop pinged with a notification. The message was from Russell. He wrote, "Patrick, you there?" I stared at the screen for a full minute. Smart kid. Found a way to reach me that bypassed Diane entirely. "I'm here," I typed back. His next message came quickly. "Mom's losing it. She keeps calling lawyers. Spencer moved out already. She's talking about going back to Canada." "I know," I responded. "Are you okay?" "I'm managing," he wrote back. "Are you?" That question hit harder than I expected. I sat back in the chair, looked around the cabin I'd rented outside Flagstaff. Was I okay? I didn't know yet. "I'm getting there. You need anything? Money? Help with school?" "No. Marshall set up something for me, an account for college. He said you did it." I hadn't told Marshall to do that specifically, just to make sure Russell had options if things went bad. You deserve to have choices. Whatever happens between me and your mom, that doesn't change. "Can I visit you sometime?" Russell asked. My throat tightened. I wanted to say yes, wanted to give this kid an escape route from whatever chaos Diane was creating. But I also knew that opening that door meant staying connected to a life I was trying to leave behind. When you graduate college, you can go anywhere you want. Until then, this is complicated. "I get it," Russell wrote back. "I just wanted to hear you say it." I sent one more message. "Russell, you're a good kid. Better than most adults I know. Don't let this make you cynical about people." His final message appeared. "Too late for that, but thanks for everything." Then he logged off before I could respond. I sat there staring at the screen, feeling something I'd been avoiding for weeks. Guilt. Not for leaving Diane, she'd earned that, but for leaving Russell in the wreckage. 4 weeks in, Diane finally understood the situation she was in. Marshall forwarded me emails from her lawyer, some guy named Rodriguez who worked out of a strip mall office in Phoenix. The emails were frantic, full of legal jargon that boiled down to one thing: panic. Her lawyer's claiming the prenup is invalid because she signed under duress, Marshall said when he called. Apparently you pressured her and she didn't have independent counsel. "She had her own lawyer," I said. "Richard Caldwell out of Scottsdale. I paid for it." "That's what I told them," Marshall said. "Sent copies of the retainer agreement, the consultation notes, everything. They've got nothing." "What about immigration?" "That's where it gets interesting. She's got 60 days to prove she has legal grounds to remain. The H-4 visa terminates with the divorce. No pathway to adjustment based on the infidelity filing. She's looking at deportation unless she finds another route, work visa, student visa, something. But those take time and money, and right now she has neither." 2 months later, Diane's social media started telling a different story. Marshall sent me screenshots with timestamps, clinical updates, like a doctor monitoring a decline. Day 15, she'd posted a video from our kitchen. No makeup, hair pulled back, sitting at the counter where she used to drink her morning coffee and plan her fitness coaching content. "I'm learning that growth comes with consequences I didn't anticipate," she said, her voice shaking. "I thought I was being authentic, but maybe I was just being selfish. I don't know anymore." The comments were brutal. "You destroyed a good man and expected applause. Actions have consequences. Welcome to reality." She deleted the video 8 hours later. By month 3, I'd found my rhythm. Rented a small place in Flagstaff under Michael Crawford. Started doing odd jobs, handyman work, anything that kept me busy and paid cash. Found out I was good with my hands in ways I'd never explored during all those years running the construction company. Not just building, but detailed restoration work. Furniture repair, custom woodworking. There was something peaceful about working with wood, shaping something beautiful from raw material. I'd always been drawn to boats. Used to build model ships as a kid before construction work took over my life. Started thinking about maybe learning boat restoration someday. Working on something that floated instead of something that sat on foundations. 6 months in, I got the call I'd been waiting for. "She's gone," Marshall said. "Flew back to Toronto yesterday morning. Immigration finally processed everything. She tried every angle, hired 3 different lawyers, even filed some bogus claim about persecution based on her wellness coaching. None of it worked. I was standing in a workshop I'd rented, sanding down a piece of oak I was turning into a coffee table. What about Russell? He's staying, graduated early from ASU, finished his engineering degree in 3.5 years, got accepted to a graduate program in marine engineering at UC San Diego. The trust you set up covered everything he needed." "Good," I said, and meant it. "He's a smart kid. He'll be fine." Year 2, I'd rebuilt myself piece by piece. Changed my name legally to Michael Crawford. Got a driver's license, opened bank accounts, filed taxes. The boat restoration idea kept nagging at me. Started researching it, found out there was good money in restoring vintage fishing boats for wealthy retirees. The work combined everything I knew about construction with the detailed craftsmanship I'd discovered I loved. I decided to relocate to the Gulf Coast of Florida, where the boat restoration market was thriving. Bought a small property near Tampa with a workshop, perfect for the detailed work I was planning. The transition from Arizona construction to Florida marine restoration felt natural. Both required understanding how things were built, just different materials and environments. Russell visited twice that second year. Always unannounced, always welcome. Drove down in a beat-up Honda Civic he'd bought with summer job money from his marine engineering internship. Taller than I remembered, filled out in the shoulders, but still the same thoughtful kid who'd rather solve problems than talk about them. We'd work on restoration projects together, talk about everything except the past. "This is impressive work," Russell said during his second visit, running his hand along the hull of a 1960 Chris Craft I was restoring for a collector in Sarasota. "Thanks," I replied. "Your engineering background would be useful here. Understanding stress points, hull design," he smiled. "Funny you say that. Got accepted to specialize in yacht design for my master's program." Year 3, everything changed again. I met someone. Carolyn Peters taught art classes at the local community college, specialized in pottery and sculpture. We met at a coffee shop where I was sketching boat restoration plans. She asked about my drawings, we started talking. Took things slow. No rushing, no promises I couldn't keep. She knew my history, knew I'd been burned badly, never pushed for details I wasn't ready to share. "I can tell you're someone who's been through something difficult," Carolyn said during one of our early dinners. "But you seem like you've come through it stronger." That's exactly what I hoped was true. The magazine article happened by accident. Some writer doing a piece on Gulf Coast artisans found my work at a gallery in St. Petersburg. She wanted to interview the guy restoring classic fishing boats and turning them into works of art. I agreed but kept it vague. Talked about starting over, about finding peace in detailed craftsmanship, never mentioned Diane, never mentioned the construction company or Arizona. "There's something therapeutic about bringing a beautiful old boat back to life," I told the reporter. "These vessels have stories, history. They deserve respect and careful attention." The article ran in a regional marine magazine called Gulf Coast Boating. Didn't think anyone outside Florida would notice. I was wrong. The beach was empty that morning, the kind of quiet you only get before sunrise. I was sketching ideas for a new project, a 1965 Bertram that needed complete restoration. The fiberglass was weathered but solid, and the lines were classic. I heard footsteps behind me but didn't turn. Tourists sometimes wandered down here, took photos, moved on. But these footsteps stopped, hesitated. Then a voice I hadn't heard in 3 years cut through the sound of the waves. "Patrick." I straightened slowly, turned around. Diane stood 20 feet away wearing jeans and a simple jacket, hair pulled back, no makeup. She looked older, thinner. The polished fitness influencer image was gone, replaced by something raw and uncertain. When she saw me fully, when our eyes met, something in her expression just shattered. Her face went pale, her mouth opened slightly, and I watched 3 years of carefully constructed denial collapse in real time. She'd found me, but she hadn't prepared for what she'd find. The man standing there wasn't the construction company owner she'd left behind. This was someone else entirely. "Hi," she said finally, voice barely above a whisper. I didn't respond immediately, just looked at her. This woman who'd once been my wife, who'd blown up my life in front of everyone I knew, who'd spent 3 years probably imagining this moment. "Diane," I said eventually, no emotion, no anger, just acknowledgement. "I've been looking for you," she said, taking a tentative step closer. "The article in the boating magazine, I saw your work, I knew it was you." "And now you found me," I said. She wrapped her arms around herself, a defensive gesture I remembered from arguments years ago. "I needed to see you, to explain." "There's nothing to explain," I said. "You said everything that night at the barbecue." "That was a mistake," she said quickly. "The way I did it, the timing, all of it. I've regretted it every day since." I set down the sketch pad I was holding. "Diane, I don't care." Those 4 words landed harder than any insult could have. I saw it in her face. The realization that I wasn't angry, wasn't hurt, wasn't anything. I'd moved past her entirely. "You look different," she said, voice faltering. "I am different," I said. "I had to be." "Russell misses you," she tried. "Russell knows how to reach me," I said. "We talk regularly. He's doing well in graduate school." Her face shifted, surprise mixed with something that looked like betrayal. "He never told me." "Why would he?" I asked. "You didn't exactly earn his trust when you destroyed his family." Diane's eyes filled with tears. "Please, Patrick, I just need you to understand what I was going through." "I understand perfectly," I said, turning back to my sketch. "You wanted something different. You got it. Now you're living with it." "That's it?" she asked, voice rising slightly. 3 years, and that's all you have to say?" I looked at her one more time. "What do you want, Diane? Forgiveness? Permission to feel better about what you did? I can't give you either of those things." She stood there, tears running down her face, and I felt nothing but a distant sort of pity. "I remarried," she said finally, desperation creeping into her voice. "Tech executive in Vancouver. It's not working out either." "I'm sorry to hear that," I said, and I meant it. Not sorry for her specifically, just sorry that people keep making the same mistakes over and over. "Goodbye, Diane," I said, picking up my sketch pad again. She didn't leave immediately. Stood there for another minute, maybe 2, waiting for something that wasn't going to come. Then finally she turned and walked away. I watched her go just for a moment. Then I went back to my work. The Bertram was still there, still needed restoring. And unlike some people, boats don't ask questions you can't answer. 8 months after Diane found me on the beach, my phone rang with Russell's number. "I graduated," he said without preamble. "Master's degree in marine engineering, specializing in yacht design. Can I come visit now? Maybe help you with a project?" I smiled for the first time in weeks. "Yeah, kid, you can definitely come visit." He showed up 3 days later, driving a newer Honda Civic he'd bought with his engineering internship money. Taller than I remembered, confident in ways he hadn't been at 22. The uncertainty was gone, replaced by the quiet competence of someone who'd found his path. We didn't hug, just nodded at each other like we always did. He looked around the workshop, at the boats in various stages of restoration, at the half-finished Bertram. "This is impressive work," Russell said, running his expert eye over the hull design. "You've got good instincts for hull dynamics." "Thanks," I replied. "Your engineering background would make this even better." We ate dinner at a local seafood place, the kind with plastic tablecloths and waitresses who called everyone hon. Russell ordered blackened grouper, ate methodically, then finally spoke about what I knew was coming. "Mom came to see you," he said. "She told me." "She did," I confirmed. "She said you were cruel to her," Russell continued, watching my reaction carefully. "I wasn't cruel," I said. "I was honest. There's a difference." Russell nodded slowly. "That's what I figured. She wanted me to ask you to reconsider, to maybe talk to her again about reconciliation. I told her I wasn't going to do that." "Good," I said. "That's between her and me. You don't need to be in the middle." She's struggling, Russell said, not defending her, just stating facts. Third marriage isn't going well. Still trying to make the wellness coaching thing work, but nobody really remembers her anymore. The fitness influencer market moved on. What about you? I asked. How are you really doing? Russell shrugged. I'm good. Better than good, actually. Got a job offer from a yacht design firm in San Diego. They specialize in custom racing boats. Turns out all those hours we spent working on projects together taught me more than I realized. We spent the next 4 days fishing, working on the Bertram together, talking about everything and nothing. His engineering expertise combined with my restoration experience created something neither of us could have achieved alone. On his last morning, we stood by his car in the driveway. You can come back any time, I told him. Door's always open. Russell nodded. Thanks, Patrick, for everything, for not being like her, for showing me what it looks like when someone keeps their word. He drove away and I stood there watching until the car disappeared around the bend. He'd be fine, better than fine. He'd survive the worst of it and come out stronger. A year after Russell's visit, I got an email from Marshall. Subject line, "It's completely finished." I opened it with coffee in hand, morning light streaming through the workshop windows. The message was brief. Diane had signed papers relinquishing any future claims to anything connected to me, the old business, any remaining assets, all of it. In exchange, I'd agreed not to pursue her for the legal fees she still owed from the divorce proceedings. She wanted closure, Marshall wrote. Figured you'd want to know it's finally over. I sat with that information for a while. Diane remarried again, starting over again. Part of me hoped she'd learned something this time. The bigger part didn't care enough to wonder. Life settled into a rhythm after that. I sold restored boats to collectors and enthusiasts up and down the Gulf Coast. Made enough to live well, maybe better than I had running the construction company. Bought the lot next to my workshop, built a proper facility with better tools. Started teaching boat restoration to young mechanics through the community college where Carolyn worked. Found out I was good at passing on knowledge. Russell visited twice a year, always unannounced, always welcome. He took the job in San Diego, became one of their top designers. Still quiet, still thoughtful, but confident now in ways he hadn't been when his mother destroyed our family. Carolyn and I got serious. Moved in together, talked about marriage. She met Russell during one of his visits, and they talked about design and engineering while I cooked dinner. Watching them connect, I felt something I hadn't felt since before Diane's betrayal, complete peace. This wasn't just survival anymore. It was genuine happiness built on honest foundations. That night, after Russell left and Carolyn went home, I sat on the dock with a beer and looked at the stars. Thought about the man I'd been 5 years ago, standing in that community center, watching his wife detonate his life in front of everyone who mattered to him. Here's what I learned. The strongest revenge isn't making someone pay. It's building a life so good that their betrayal becomes irrelevant. Success isn't measured by how much damage you can inflict, but by how completely you can move beyond the need for any damage at all.